Hi, my name is Merva Fosberg, and this is my Starbucks executive summary presentation. First, the mission statement. This is the current one that Starbucks has. Short, sweet, to the point. Moving on to what our proposed mission statement is, it's a little more lengthy. However, it encompasses a lot more, as well as taking care of customers, how we want to treat employees, and what we want to do globally. This is the current vision statement that Starbucks has. The proposed one we have is very similar, just instead of the one they have where they want to be the best, we want to be best in the world. So that's the only difference. Moving on to the IFE, this is where we are annotating the things that we can affect internally as a company, meaning that the company has the ability to affect these. And this is our strengths and our weaknesses, how we weight them, what we gave them as a rating, and overall what that rated score was. Moving on to things that we cannot control, that's where we're getting into the external factors, or the EFE matrix. These are your opportunities and your threats. Again, weighted them, rated them, and got the overall weighted score. Moving on to the CPM, the competitive profile matrix. This is taking all of those different weights and rating them and comparing them to our competitors. The competitors we chose were Dunkin' and McDonald's, and we did this because Dunkin' and McDonald's are very close behind Starbucks when it comes to their drinks. Most people in the United States will either pick one of these three for their coffee when they choose to buy. Starbucks does have the highest CPM, however they are close behind Dunkin' and McDonald's. Modify a few of these things, Starbucks could potentially outbeat their competitors. Moving on to the strategy assessments. First, we're going to talk about the SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunities, threats, and then we'll talk about the BCG. The SWOT, we use the SWOT to come up with different strategies that allow us to ensure that we are alleviating weaknesses and threats by using our strengths and our opportunities. Moving on to the BCG. The BCG shows that we are in the high sales and high market share section, meaning that investors are going to want to invest. It shows that Starbucks has a high potential future and high growth, so there's less risk for investors wanting to invest in the company. Moving on to the IE matrix, internal-external matrix. This shows that Starbucks is in a hold and maintain pattern right now, meaning that Starbucks is at a point where they're doing good and should just continue to do what they're doing, and they can maintain where they're at or potentially grow slightly. What they could do is potentially grow into other countries to do better. However, right now they're in the section of this where, again, they're in this hold maintain pattern. Moving on to the space matrix. This kind of shows how Starbucks should act when it comes to those SWOT strategies, whether they should be conservative, defensive, competitive, or aggressive. Starbucks falls into the aggressive quadrant, the upper right quadrant of this chart, meaning that they should attack those strategies and actually implement them because they have the ability to. Moving on to the grand matrix, this is taking different strategies and seeing where they fall in comparison to rapid growth, market growth, as well as strong competitive position. All of the different strategies we have fall into the upper right section, which is quadrant 1, showing that there is high rapid market growth as well as a strong competitive position. Some of the key strategies that we specifically went into is market penetration and product development. We want to get into the market, dive deeper, what can we do in the market to get our stuff to sell, as well as product development. Our stuff is very easily replicated, and that's not good. How do we fix our products to make sure we are competitive? Moving on to historical and projected financials. For the historical income and balance sheets, we're taking data from the calendar year 2020 and calendar year 2021 to show differences between them, to show increase, decrease in certain areas, and we will take this information to help us in coming up with the projected income and balance sheet. We do this because ultimately we want to know what the company is potentially looking at in the future. What is the revenue? What is the cash? What is our inventory, our accounts payable? This is all information that we need to know in order to make logical decisions. Moving on to the financial ratios, this is taking the income statement, the balance sheet from previous years, as well as the projected ones, to come up with these different ratios that will help us make those decisions. Cash value, these are doing different equations based on those income statements and balance sheets to come up with the method average, which is a negative number for us. Moving on to the perceptual map, this is taking into consideration beverages, packaged and single serve, other items, as well as food, to show where do these items sit as far as, is it good, high quality, is it a high price, where are they sitting as far as what can we do to affect them. Obviously our beverages are high price, high quality, but what can we do to modify that? This is just a representation of what customers see us as. Retained earnings, snapshot of the dividends that we have. Moving on to the competitor marketing expenditures. The EPS, EBIT, this shows that Starbucks should be financing through debt because that is the highest dollar value, as seen by the pessimistic, realistic, optimistic, with it almost being at $5 if financing through debt. And it's important that we do the highest we possibly can. Final recommendation, blurry slide, I apologize, but ultimately we want to increase our revenue. We want to target 18 to 24-year-olds by doing that market penetration, but also develop our products so that competitors are not duplicating our stuff and selling them for lower prices. Reference. Thank you for watching.